at Living Water Community Church, and I'm giving you a Friday update for October 11 as we prepare for our weekend where we'll worship together on October 13. And just a few things that I want you to be aware of, a few things that I want you to know as we head into the weekend. And we can first begin by saying we are going to be studying John 21 this week. And as we go into week 2 of our Love Does series, my hope is that you have joined into a small group, that you have found time to read through that book, to read through that study guide called Love Does by Bob Goff. And as we walk through those chapters, this second one will lead us into the discussion on what it means to fail and the fact that failure is not really failure, especially when we talk about Peter and the example that he gives us in John 21 as far as being reinstated by Jesus Christ, as far as being given another chance, as far as being shown that it was really all a learning experience. I'm also really excited because we have a special guest joining us that will be co-teaching with me on Sunday, and I will not tell you who that is, but I will tell you that it's going to be a great discussion around what failure looks like and what he has gone through in his life that some would call a failure, but some would actually call a learning experience. So join us on Sunday. We worship at 10 o'clock at both Sheldon and Orange City campuses. We also have happening at the Orange City campus this week, Donuts with a Pastor, which is an opportunity for you to just hang out after the service, maybe talk about professional faith, maybe talk about membership, talk about what it looks like to be a part of Living Water. It's also just a great time to get to know me a little bit, to ask any kind of question that you might have had through this series or through any kind of general church questioning. So hang out with me and a care elder after the service for Donuts with a Pastor. The other thing that I want to remind you of this weekend especially is that this is your last weekend to turn in your nomination ballots. We will be meeting as a council on Monday night, October 14, which means you have until then to turn in your ballots, to turn in your nominations. Hopefully you've been praying through that. Hopefully you've been thinking through that about who would fill the roles that we have expressed already, who would be a quality person to do that, to help lead God's church. I want to remind you also that we have access to Right Now Media. If you did not see it on our last service, we have, as a church, given that gift to its people, and hopefully you can tune into that and use it as a discipleship tool. It's available to you 24/7. Any kind of connection to Living Water gets you that access. In fact, if you have received our updates from email, if you have received any prayer requests via email, then you should have received an invitation to get Right Now Media also. If you have not received that invitation, then go ahead and email me or email Donna, and we will get you that invitation as soon as we can. The other thing is that I wanted to give you an update on the fact that our Red Hot Mission team met. That is a team that was developed after meeting with Dave Bartlett. If you remember, about a year ago or so, one of the criteria that we wanted going forward is to continually be red hot on mission. And coming out of what was the Ritter team, this Red Hot Mission team is really tasked with dreaming, with thinking about what's next, with thinking about what could be, asking questions like, what if? What if we would try this? What if we would try that? And just really kind of dreaming about possibilities for Living Water in both campuses. And as that team has met, as that team has kind of found its footing, one of the things we came up with last night that we will be discussing with council, discussing as far as how do we implement, is the idea of having sort of benchmarks along the way. So there's one thing about dreaming in a crazy way, dreaming about possibilities that we could do at both campuses to help the kingdom of God. But there's another thing to make small incremental steps, almost confidence builders, if you will. And we have several of those benchmarks, some small-term goals, some big-term goals, things that this Red Hot Mission team really believes the council has empowered it to do. And so we're going to be furthering that discussion. We're going to be continuing that discussion, especially as we meet with council on October 14. But one thing I want you to be in prayer for is that we continue to push the envelope, not just as council, not just as Red Hot Mission Team, but as church members, as an entire body of Living Water Community Church. How do we look at what's next, and how do we continue to grow towards what God desires us to be? I've mentioned it a couple times, but I want you to be in prayer for a council that meets on October 14. Continue to lift your leadership, your admin, elders, and deacons up in prayer. We also have an event coming up at the Orange City campus called Trunk or Treat. This is something that has just kind of come on our radar, something that we're going to attempt to do on October 30. So mark your calendars for that, and basically just a great time of fellowship, a great time of hanging out as a safe place for kids to do the candy thing, the dress up thing. I'll give you more information on that as we go. Remember that at Living Water, we seek to follow Jesus by loving God and loving others. And that's not just as an organization, that's for us as individuals as well. So please be looking for ways that you can seek to follow Jesus by loving God and loving others today. And I look forward to seeing you on Sunday. Thank you.